Welcome to Secrets of Stand Up Comedy. I'm Richard Francis Williams. I'm going to tell you everything I know about stand up so you can be a better comic. I want to talk to you about patience. Oh, it's the last thing I want to have. I want everything to happen immediately. I write out my goals, what my aspirations are. I do the work, and I want everything to happen overnight. If it doesn't, I feel defeated. I want to crawl into a hole and throw my hands up and give up in frustration. I become overwhelmed. Why isn't it happening? Why is this not happening quick enough? Will it ever happen? That's the fear. The fear isn't that it's not happening quick enough. It's, oh no, maybe I'm making a bad choice here. Maybe it's never going to happen. So the longer I have to wait, the more that fear amplifies itself. I was talking with a couple different comics, and it made me think about this and also things in my own life that I'm dealing with the van and my credit and trying to get a home equity loan. And the two different comics, they were talking about this in a roundabout way. They weren't being impatient, but it made me think about conversations I had with comics in the past and things that I dealt with myself. They changed a whole bunch of things in their acts, delivery, style, all of that. And they said it didn't work. Now think about that. If you've been doing your act one way, and again, it's not specific to these two comics. They weren't complaining or anything like that. And I don't even know if I am interpreting what they said correctly. I'm just using it as a jumping off point for this. But let's say I've been doing my act one way for a very long time. That's what I did for about 15 years. Then I suddenly change it. How am I judging whether or not the new way works? Based on one or two performances? It's like starting over in many senses. You have to be patient. If you have a gut feeling and you make a choice, you have to stick with it for a while. You have to ride it out. You have to give yourself a fair shot with it. So when I switch from really high energy, fast paced, rapid fire, being silly and big on stage, to more conversational, to more pensive, to more subtle. If I just said after one or two times, okay, this is not working, I would have been doing myself a disservice. Because for 15 years, I perfected what I was doing. Good, bad, or indifferent, what I was doing, I had gotten down. So why would I expect in a very short period of time, just two performances, or even a month of it, that I'm going to have that down? Sure, I have a head start because I have better material than I had when I started 15 years prior to that, but it's like a trick that we play on ourselves. That we're going to do one thing and it's all going to click and boom, stardom. It rarely works that way. There's going to be incremental gains that you make. There's going to be certain bursts of creativity and getting closer to your goals and those types of things. I'm sorry, Willie just grumbled at me. Eat your chewy bones. But even when somebody makes a major change and it helps them, it still takes some time. So be patient when you're going after your goals. And that's one of the other reasons why setting goals is so important, because when you're impatient, like all of us are, I'm certainly impatient. I want everything to change overnight. Okay, I've made my decision. Things are going to be better. if you don't have anything to measure against it, how will you even know if you're making progress? When I started this channel and I started thinking about doing 100 videos in 100 days, that was like a turning point for me. And I'm on pace to actually make 100 videos in 100 days. I think February 8th is the day that'll be 100 days in a row that I'll have made videos. I wanted to keep that promise as well. I know I shortened it to 100 videos overall, but I thought, based on nothing at all, just, I don't know, dreaming that I'll be monetized by that point. I'll have 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours. I think that's what it was at the time. So my focus became just making the videos and making them good. And then my focus shifted to, how do I cut down the editing time? And then my focus became, how do I improve the thumbnails? How do I improve retention? And some of those things fell by the wayside, but I was always focused on, okay, I just have to make one video today. That's all I have to worry about. I never adjusted the idea of becoming monetized. I adjusted the quality and the amount of time that it took me. And I think the videos got better, and it definitely takes me less time to make these videos. So those are two things that I can quantify. The first one's a little harder, whether or not these are better or the same or not as good as the very early ones. That's subjective. But the amount of time it takes me to edit them is objective. I can go back and look. If there's no edits in this at all, then it didn't take me any time to edit it, except putting it in, changing it to black and white, fiddling with the darkness to some degree, adjusting the audio, and then picking a thumbnail and uploading it. That I can track, and I've drastically improved in that area, which is great because it frees me up to do other stuff. When I reached 100 videos, I'm not monetized right now, so I didn't reach my goal. But there were a couple videos, I thought, oh, this is going to skyrocket. This is really going to do it. I thought people would be rewatching or re-listening to the hypnosis video a bunch of times. Because I'm like, this is something I would charge $150 for in a normal scenario if you were a client. And I would personalize it, but people will really latch onto this. They'll be listening to it every night. And it wasn't a trick. I was providing something that I thought was beneficial, but that didn't happen. And there were other videos that I thought that our female comics funny, our women comics funny, would take off, because I have a different opinion than a lot of the Reddit user types, or what they consider Reddit users. I don't know what Reddit users are outside of the stereotypes, or 4chan people, or 8chan, or whatever chan that we're on at this point. But yeah, I can't control those things. So I never know what's going to be popular. I know if I put a celebrity's name in the title or talk about them, it's going to get more clicks, but I don't like doing that. That's why I haven't interviewed anybody also. I wanted to get all of these types of videos out there. That's more important to me than celebrity. And I don't know if some of my friends would do it. You lose touch with some of these people. They go on to become big and famous. I don't know if they would agree to be on a small video channel like this. And I don't want to risk it. I don't want them to tell me no and have it hurt whatever friendship I believe that we have. So I thought that this channel would have 10,000 subscribers by now, if I'm being honest. I thought, well, there's probably 100,000 comics in the U.S. and which is way too many, by the way. Even if that number's inflated, it's still like it's crazy how many people are doing this. Um, and then I looked briefly at a couple other sites that teach comedy, and I'm like, how do they have this many subscribers? Like, oh, they've been doing it for a long time, and they probably do promotion. And I used to get discouraged. Now I don't even care about how many people subscribe in the way that I used to. I obviously care to some degree, but I don't go, oh, yeah, it's up to here now. When people ask me, I'm like, I don't know. I have a general idea because my focus has shifted. I've gotten patient with this because my focus has shifted to making quality videos for the people that do tune in. My focus shifted to I have to do an open mic. And how do I do that and bring the viewers along with me? And how do I not embarrass myself? How do I do well? So think about that in your career, in the things that you want, your goals. Where can you add a little bit of patience? Where can you realize that, hey, some of this is out of my control and things are happening a lot quicker than I even realize? Because the one thing I'm able to, like I said, you have to have goals and quantifiable things that you can compare and contrast to. I can look and see how many days I've done a video in a row. That's what makes me happy. That's what makes me feel satisfied. I have complete control over it. I'm getting it done. The one day when I released 3 videos with the open mic, I didn't do that to meet a quota or kind of boost my numbers. I did it because it was really going on, and I wanted to share that with you. So when I first moved to LA, I talked about this in the video about my story and what my credits were and all that. It seemed like everything was taking forever. But when I look back on it now, almost immediately I was running shows. I was getting spots at the Improv. I got a manager within the first few months. Like 6 months in, I got hired to write for a website. I got stock options from this website. I could have been a multimillionaire if it actually was successful. There were a lot of crazy things that happened. But for me, it was like, no, this is going way too slow. I need more. I need more. I need more. I need it to happen quicker. And that's how I feel at times right now. But it's about other things. Like, I need to get this vehicle situation situated. And so I was on the phone again with the bank that holds my mortgage, that has the negative things on my credit report, and talking to the guy, and he said, well, I don't understand this. And he has me on hold for 24 minutes today. And I'm like, I don't know how this is that hard. I can't get through to a decision maker. And he tells me that, all right, well, we'll call you back. If you don't hear from us in a week, check back. I'm like, well, this same number? And then I check my email later in the day at like 5:30, and I get an email from the other bank that I'm hoping to do the home equity loan through. And the guy I was dealing with, who told me to get all this stuff done, sent me an email saying there's a decision on my home equity loan, and to go to the website, and the letter's on there. And I know that's not good news because he probably would have called me. I don't know for sure, but that's my guess. And so I sign in, and he didn't give me an authorization code to even see it. So I'm calling him. I sent him an email. Hey, I thought that you needed the verification of my monthly income, and I'm trying to get this stuff off my credit report, which you told me to do. Why did you push the loan through? So now I have to wait until tomorrow to hear from him. I'm going crazy because the impatient side of me wants to say, hey, listen, I have all this equity in my house. This was a mistake that they made. Is this going to hurt my credit now that you pushed this through and it's probably declined and I didn't get a chance to take care of all of this? I have all these new jokes that I want to go do at open mics. I have a YouTube channel where I feel a sense of obligation to keep this going and show my journey of trying to make it as a comic again. He doesn't care about any of that. He doesn't. Why would he care? He's a banker. His job is to try to get people loans. He doesn't give a shit about what I'm doing. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like he cares too much about putting somebody in the best position to get a loan, but it's not up to me. But I want it done immediately. I want it right now. And so I'm sure for a lot of you, there's aspects of your life in stand-up and outside of stand-up where you're like, why am I just emceeing at this club? I want a feature, or I want to move up to headliner. What's taking so long? Let's say the best possible scenario, best case, is this channel has made a monumental impact for good in your career. It's only been up here for 4 months. I started this 4 months ago, a little bit more than 4 months. The first video came out. That's not a long time. If you followed every single step of everything that I said in these exercises and these videos and watched every single one of them, you could do some real damage. You could improve very quickly. But you have to be somewhat realistic. 4 months is not that long of a time. So push yourself when it comes to doing the work, but be a little easy on yourself when it comes to where you're at or how soon these things should happen. Give it some time. Hang in there. It pays off. I know it does. If you go back and read or go back and watch the video about my story, one of the early ones about my credits and my life story, I know that this works out. A lot of times, it's the people that outwork everybody else that's the most successful. And I had talent. I'm not going to shortchange that. For whatever reason, if it was the stuff that I dealt with as a kid or those kids busting my chops when I was little in the apartment complex, I don't know what it was, but I had a talent for this. But I crafted it. My first open mic, I was horrible. I got enough laughs that it was a distorted view of how I did in my mind because I had a couple beers. And I was like hypnotized on stage. I don't really remember much of it. But it was enough that I got hooked. But I was bad. And then I would bomb over and over and over and over again. And maybe you're at that point right now. I was always funny with my friends, and I was funny in elementary, middle, and high school. But man, on stage, I couldn't put anything together because I didn't have any guidance. I didn't know what I was doing. But I learned, and I kept at it. And I kept at it. And sometimes my impatience was good because being impatient, on the flip side, makes you want to do more. But use that for the work, for writing new material, for memorizing your bits, for recording yourself acting things out. And when you're ready, make those incremental jumps from MC to feature, feature to headliner. Really give it a push of energy, and then plateau there for a little bit. Do all the work there, and then make another jump, and then do all the work there, and keep stacking. That's why if you do a little bit each day, instead of trying to do an entire career's worth in a week, each day you're going to get better. It's hard to tell sometimes. It's hard to tell if you've gotten better unless you're recording your sets, unless you're going back and looking at stuff from a month ago or 6 months ago. I mean, we get these crazy notions of where we're at in the world. We think, oh, I haven't gotten better at all. But you don't realize that you dropped 5 jokes that were kind of hacky, and now they're replaced with 5 jokes that are solid. So that's why it's important to set goals and to keep track so you can measure your progress, so that your dreams aren't just fantasies, they're actually attainable achievements. Do the work, hold yourself accountable, be patient, know that the work will pay off, enjoy the entire process. That's the payoff in and of itself. I've loved making these videos. I've completely loved it. I wish I got to do this with my other dogs, but I got to immortalize Willie and Bingo in a very small way. And kind of what I'm doing in the world. And just keep at it. Be hard on yourself about doing the work. Be easy on yourself about the timeline of when things that are out of your control happen. All right, that's it. If you want some one-on-one personal coaching, just send me an email. It's $100 for an hour, but I want to talk to you first. That doesn't count towards the time. And then so I can get an idea where you're at, because my advice varies depending on if you're doing your first open mic versus you're doing arenas. And I want you to send me either material or your set so I can go through, evaluate it, punch stuff up. And that's one of the great things. I did it with one of you watching this, and probably gave you 4 or 5 jokes just from riffing back and forth. And so if you don't want to do it, there's no pressure at all. You can just watch these videos. This is just a more personal way that's specific to you, so that you don't have to be quite as patient. Just see what I did there? It's called the soft sell. I'll see you tomorrow.